chain smoking DMT for like 4 weeks or something like that.
Whoa.
And apparently the rumor has it that like it can give you Alzheimer's if you do it frequently. So that might be something that I'm looking forward to.
Ryleigh out here on the microphone today, and we were out here at Sober Champs, Pioneer Square, Color Studios, Mondo in the building, behind the cameras. Man, Rudy, what's up? How you feeling, Rude? What's going on, baby?
I'm feeling good. Summer's finally here in Seattle.
Finally.
So, man, can't complain. We got about 2 months to just enjoy this. So I'm trying to soak it in.
Yeah, well, maybe a month. Then the smoke starts kicking in. It's gonna be like, oh man, I thought I was gonna have a good time.
The fires. Oh man, that's terrible.
I was gonna do that this year. Do wildland firefighting, and some stuff happened, some family stuff. Grandpa broke his neck, and so I gotta stay in town and like take care of him. But
you're gonna be a wildfire fighter?
Wildfire.
That was right. I had it right. All right, sounded funny.
Yeah, wildfire fighter. Yeah. I was gonna, and you know the opportunity's still there, but I mean that's money right there because it's like when you're out there, you're on the clock, you know, and they got you going round, and it's like, I think it's like $22 an hour starting off base, but you're in overtime in like 3 days, and so they just kick you off, keep you out there for a couple weeks, a month, you know, and you're just like out there dirty, grimy, you know, you got all this soot all over you, and you're just like, you're breathing, you're like, oh boy, it's out. You're just like playing with chainsaws, cutting down trees on fire and stuff like that. It's like, whoa.
David Goggins does that stuff. You know David Goggins?
Who's going to carry the boats?
Yeah, come on,
and
man.
the fucking logs.
Yeah, that's my guy right there. He's my guy.
That's the dude.
My guy. Hey, in recovery, man, I started listening to him. I said, fuck what I was feeling.
Yeah, for real.
Hey,
bro.
I'm out here, man. Fuck everybody's feelings.
This fool was jogging like 60 miles in one sitting. I'm like, bro, you're like bleeding inside and shit.
No, it's like if this guy could do 2,000 pull-ups, I could stay sober.
God, come on. Come on. He's talking about his hands, and anyway, that's crazy. But all right, Ryleigh, man, we got you in the building. We wanted to just bring you in, man. We've been watching you for a long time, and you know we've seen you for a long time, and what better time to get you in here than today? And so we're gonna start off with, do you have a sober date?
Yes, I do. My name is Ryleigh, and my sober date is January 6th of 2020. I work a 12-step program. I've got a sponsor in that program, and I sponsor a couple of kids in the program, and you know I love doing it.
Yeah. How old are you?
23.
23.
So so I got sober when I just turned 20.
Wow.
Just turned 20.
Damn, 20. So you didn't even get the full bar experience at 21, huh?
No, I got the full bar experience at 19 because they was letting me in because I looked like I was, you know, older than I actually was, and it's like I just act like I'm supposed to be there. And they're like, "Yeah, what can we get you?" I'm like, "Give me some Heineken, give me some Jameson, you know, all this, all that," and it was cool, you know, just like rolling weed, you know, on the bar tables and stuff like that, you know, passing baggies of cocaine and stuff like that, just doing it.
Yeah. So, what was your first experience with drugs and alcohol?
My first experience with drugs and alcohol.
Maybe first seeing it, first watching it, first tasting it.
So
you tell us what your first experience was.
I guess my first direct experience with drugs and alcohol, I must have been, I don't know, I would say 12 years old. 12 years old. My dad used to be into like native ceremonies, and he found a group of people who was doing ayahuasca ceremonies. So he took me down to a ceremony in California, and I did ayahuasca down there, and I don't remember getting high from it, you know, but I took like 4 shots of this shit, and I was like, oh, what do I feel? What do I do? And you know, apparently it had some sort of effect on my body. Like they was telling me I fell asleep, and I was like panting and rolling over and just like looking like I was freaking out. And they came over and they started fanning me off, and then I just let out this big old fart. and I fell right back asleep. And everybody was laughing, and I was like, "Oh, cool! Like, drugs is an option," you know. and I don't know. I stayed. I didn't really go. I didn't go to another ceremony until I was about 15 years old. And by that time, like when I was 15, I had just finished my freshman year of high school.
So hold on. So between 12 and 15, you had that first experience with ayahuasca.
Yeah.
And then between 12 and 15, were you dabbling with like weed or alcohol? Or anything?
No. I mean, honestly, I didn't even consider ayahuasca a drug at that point. Like I was told that it was medicine.
Yeah.
And so
Right.
it's like, okay, like, you know, people would tell me it's like they're getting high off of it. I'm like, I don't even know what that means, bro.
Right.
Like that's like a foreign language to me.
So you didn't see the Black Panther?
I didn't see none of that stuff. None of the caterpillars, none of the drums beating, you know, without them actually being there. I didn't experience none of that.
So you're in Cali right now. Did you move from here to Cali?
No. We didn't move there.
Okay.
No.
Oh, you just went down there for the
there's-
ceremony.
Yeah. There was
Yeah.
a space that they could do it safely because
Roger.
like that shit's real illegal, you know. So, but my dad met the people who did it up here, and they all mobbed down there, you know. So, but yeah, from 12 to 15, I didn't do no drugs. You know, I'm born to alcoholics, drug addicts, and mom left when I was 2. To relapse. She had 6 years clean when she relapsed. I was 2 years old, and you know, I remember wishing my mom was there, and all these questions like, was I not enough, or like, where'd she go? Is she safe? You know, all this stuff. And so I was adamantly anti-drug from the ages of like 4 to like 15. Yeah. And you know, when I was 15, I was, you know, like just starting to get those teenage hormones and like wondering like, yo, what's up? Like, do I fit in? You know, all this stuff, all these questions about life and all this curiosity. And so I went to a party with a friend who,
Real quick, are you in Seattle?
yeah,
Where
in
you-
Seattle.
where you-
Yeah,
Seattle?
I've lived in Seattle my whole life.
Okay.
Yeah. Went to Nathan Hale High School, and I met a friend there who's hardcore dope fiend. And he was tame back then when I was 15. And he took me to a party, and I'd seen a friend I knew in middle school, and he was like, Ryleigh, come over here and hit these dabs. And I was like, what the fuck is a dab? You know, and I hit it, and I took like three of them shits, and I just remember like getting that warm feeling, and like, oh, like, what am I worried about? I got nothing to be worried about. And like my vision get kind of like putting on drunk goggles a little bit. That was my first experience, and I pulled up, and they brought some boxing gloves to the thing, and so I was like fighting, you know, just like swinging on fools, getting swung on, and I was like, wow, this is what it feels like to be a part of. You know, I had always struggled with that type of stuff, and so I'd found it, you know, and so I just kept going to those parties, and you know, I got drunk for the first time. First time I got drunk, I got blackout drunk, fell asleep, like walking up right. Got on the bus and got kicked off the bus for smoking some weed on the bus, and then I got off with a random person, and they took me to their house and fed me applesauce and drugs for like 3 days, and I was like, man, I don't know where I am right now, but this is a good deal, you know. It was free of cost. And, you know, it was an experience. It was a new experience, and I was all about it, and so that's kind of how things went for a while. Yeah.
Did you like alcohol the first time you tried it?
Yeah. Let's see. I'd taken like, you know, sips of alcohol. You know, as a little kid, I would ask my dad, be drinking whiskey or
same
something like
here,
that,
right.
and I would be like, "What's that?" Like, you know, and I didn't like the taste. I didn't know about the effects of being drunk. You know, when I was that little, so I kind of stayed clear of it, and yeah, I mean, at first I kind of liked it, because it was just like, you know, I didn't have to control whatever I was saying or doing. It was just like it was all up in the air, and there was like a sense of freedom to it, you know, uninhibited living, right? And so I did like the effects at first, and then, you know, it got to the point where it's like every time I would drink, I get blacked out or I get sick, and it's like, you know, I'm probably just gonna stick to the drugs for a little while, you know. But towards the end of my drinking, I was drinking every day. I was drinking, you know, like they got like the Natty Ice or whatever, the 24 packs. And I was drinking, you know, a half, 3/4, whole case, you know, every night, you know, because it was cheap. And it gets you drunk, just like any other beer. So, yeah, towards the end, drinking was a real big part, yeah.
Yeah, I just asked you that because, like, the very first time I ever drank, like, actually got drunk that I can remember, like, I hated it. And as it progressed, you know, then it became a part of my life and stuff like that. But I just always remember, like, the very first time I drank, I was at a party, and it was, like, near Lake Washington. So, like, they had this kind of, like, deck that looked out on the lake. And I remember I was, like, a young teenager, and I just remember, like, I was crying, and I was like wanted to jump in the water. Like I was like, whoa. Yeah, I had like some psychological thing went on with me the very first time I drank.
Was it like a shame thing or a guilt thing? You think?
Yeah, I don't know. I was just like kind of a depressed kid, and like the alcohol is a depressant, right? So like it just like kicked something happened and it flipped a switch in my brain where it was like I got like suicidal all of a sudden, and I was like tripping out on everybody at the party, and it was just like. I don't know, and actually to go way back with alcohol, because you're talking about like experience in drugs and alcohol as like small kid. The very first time I got drunk actually I was like 4 years old.
Oh, really?
Yeah, bro. I never told you this story either, I don't think. I was at a Mexican restaurant with my parents in Belltown, Mama's. It's not there anymore. Yeah. But they ordered like a virgin margarita for me, and it ended up having alcohol in it. I drank the whole thing. And like my parents tell me the story like it was kind of funny, but I think I might have got some like brain damage or something from that, because apparently I was like dancing on the tables and doing stuff that like a drunk person does as like a 4-year-old. Wow. And then I threw it all up, and so it might have gave me some brain damage or something.
Yeah, it could certainly possible.
Yeah, it's very a young man like that drinking like that. That's I think for me one of the first times I got drunk was like. It was like the spinning that happened. I remember being on my bed and just being like, ooh, shit. Like, this spinning is, like, not fun, but, like, it's kind of fun. And so it was out of control, but, man, something about it, that kind of lifting of the spirit of, like, stress. And I can really relate to that dabbing story of, like, just letting – weed would allow me to calm, like, just – get these fucking obsessions out of my mind about crazy shit, and I just let the shit go, and I just be sitting there like, all right. It clear the pathway to just like chill, bro. Yeah, and that was like one of those things that, man. When were you using when dab pens and like everything was legal at that point?
So it's like I started using like the year after recreational weed was legalized in Washington, and so like everybody was on it, you know, because it's like the cops. We didn't really get in trouble from cops, you know. I've never been detained or nothing. Like I've been chased by police, but it's like, you know, I've never gotten in trouble with the law for drugs, and so it's like, you know, we just did whatever. There was dab pens, you know. It's like. People were starting to experiment with other drugs in pens at the same time too. You know, we used to rip those like DMT pens and stuff like that too. And
talk about that. Hold on,
dude,
DMT pen,
crazy, bro.
Shit? Did you see God?
So the first time I did DMT, it wasn't out of a pen. It was out of like this like kind of vapor. It was kind of like a crack pipe a little bit, but like, you know, it got a stone in it so you don't burn the chemicals. And so I smoked it, and it's like it did the one hit, and I started getting that buzzing, like 2 hits, and that buzzing starts turning into like, and my vision starts kind of like spacing out. I start seeing like this little like hole, and I'm like coming closer and closer into it, and by the 3rd hit, it's like this stuff it's kind of nasty, but it's like. You know, it kind of fills your lungs. It really like expands in your lungs. By the 3rd hit, that buzzing is like, and you go through this whole. It feels like blasting off in a rocket ship. Yeah, you know, that's the experience that I've collected from a lot of people who've like broken through on DMT, and that was my. Let's see, I thought I died, and I had like. You know, died from doing drugs. And I was like, fuck, my dad is gonna kill me, bro. Like I died from doing drugs, bro. Like not cool. But like I had this really wonderful experience where I started like taking into account the things that I was saying and the direction in which they steered me. So it's like if I'm talking negatively on myself, like I played with it a little bit during this trip. If I was talking negatively on myself, everything would get like dark and discolored and disfigured, and like ugly shapes would pop up, and I was just like tripping, like, oh God, this is gross. And then I would say something positive, like you don't have to worry about. There's nothing to worry about, or like everything is gonna be just fine.
Yeah.
And then it would just like explode into this beautiful.
Yeah.
Like all these geometric patterns would fill in, and it's like I had my buddy dancing right next to me, and he was just doing this little dig, and like he looked like a bird. He like grew wings, and it was like he looked like a bird. And you know, this is just a weird little visual experience that I had, but it's like I was standing inside of this like little yin and yang symbol, and I was like balancing on one foot, and I understood at that moment that. There's nothing out of balance in the universe. Like there's give and take for every single thing that happens. And that was an experience that drugs had given me. It was like, it was really valuable. And it took me through some hard experiences. It like kept me sane through some real hard experiences. And so it's like, I'm not going to knock like everything about my drug experiences. It's like, it wasn't all fucking fucked up. It was like some of it was really cool, and I learned a lot of valuable stuff from it. But at the same time, I didn't need to do drugs to learn all this stuff, right? You know, it just came to me, right? And so, and it was just my experience. But from that point on, I was like DMT, and so I started hitting those like I had this buddy, he was kind of like this like special needs wannabe gangster dude, and he like stole a box of DMT pens. Like it was like
time out, man. Let's get this something straight.
Yeah,
a DMT pen.
So
we're talking about like a
it's
vape
like a
pen?
it's like a dab pen.
The fuck out of
with
here.
fucking DMT inside
Where do you
of the
get
cartridges.
one of those at,
bro? I don't know where he got it. He was like, whoa, I got it off the truck, you know. And like I was like, whoa, like what do you mean? And it was just 300 grams of DMT, and it's like, you know anything about DMT, you need less than 60 milligrams to get high. 300 grams is like, that's tens of thousands of dollars worth of drugs. And I'm like, bro, and he's just giving them out like candy.
Wow,
And
that's incredible.
and so it's like I was like chain smoking DMT for like 4 weeks or something like that.
Whoa.
And apparently the rumor has it that like it can give you Alzheimer's if you do it frequently. So that might be something that I'm looking forward to. But
I'm looking forward to it.
my memory is shoddy as it is, you know,
Yeah.
but I'm like chain smoking this DMT, and there was a couple moments in there where I thought I was like my heart rate slowed down to such a point that I was like, ooh, I'm gonna die. And like the same experience happened, you know, that happened on my first DMT trip, where it was like, oh God, I just died. But it stayed. It didn't just like evaporate when the high was gone. I legit thought I was dead for a year, and like nothing I did would be of consequence. Like everything would just like, I don't know, fall into place normally or something like that. Like nothing I did mattered, you know, because I was already dead. And so I lived like that for a little while, just doing all the drugs I could find, getting as blackout drunk as I could get, you know, dropping like 15 hits of acid at a time, and like, you know, just like tripping constantly. And
but what you said there too about how like with psychedelics, with my experience too, I did have that feeling too that everything is gonna be fine. The universe loves you. Like that, I'm seeking that through sobriety right now, because like I've done some experiences with psychedelics where I felt that like everything's gonna be fine, experiencing God
for sure.
And I'm trying to get back to there, and it's like it's almost like I've been there, so I know where I'm trying to go. And this sobriety thing of getting there like in a natural way, that's the journey I'm on right now, because I've been there and I'm trying to get back there naturally.
Yeah, so that's like a periodic thing for me, you know, like that comes in waves, you know, just kind of like psychedelics, you know, it like comes in waves where it's like everything's fucked, like fucking like what am I doing here, and I'm like tripping out, and then like somebody will say something to me, or I'll just like be sitting quietly trying to calm myself down, or not trying to calm myself down and just feeling whatever it is I'm feeling, and then it passes, and then it's like, oh, like I have access to just being okay, you know, because it is okay.
Yeah.
Right? It's like there are really, you know, I live in Seattle, Washington, man. Like there's not a lot of stuff for me to be tripping about, you know. I'm you know, like as a societal standard, I'm probably like lower middle class, you know, but you know, like to, you know, 99.9999999% of people who have ever lived on this planet, I'm a really rich person, you know. It's like I have access to food. I live in a place with running water and electricity. You know, I have like this phone that I can get in contact with my people. If anything ever goes wrong, or I'm feeling lonely, or I need to, you know, say something to somebody, get something off my chest. It's like I have access to so many resources that, you know, not everybody, like most people who have ever lived have not had access to. And so that brings about like this point to be grateful and be like, oh yeah, like just like this remembering, it's like, oh yeah, everything is okay.
Now, with that being said, that didn't happen. That didn't sound like it was happening when you were doing 24 hits of acid and fucking DMT, and so there must have been a time in which, was there a bottom or a point in which you were like, yo, this ain't working.
Yeah.
I need to switch this shit up, because you can have all the fucking exciting times you want and all this, but when did your best friend switch on you?
So, let's see, it switched. I mean, there was probably a million points where it switched. You know, it's like, because it's that wave thing where it's like it ebbs and flows, and it's like sometimes it's real dark, and sometimes it's like the best thing ever. So one point where it switched up, and this was when I actually first realized that I was an alcoholic. I was 16 years old, and I was looking for some papers or something to roll up some weed. I was over at Adams Park over on 61st, you know, by the QFC over there in Ballard, by the skate park, by the Ballard Bowl. And I couldn't find any, so I went out, and my friends had gotten this $20 half gallon of Prestige vodka, and I went out looking for some papers. Somebody gave me a cigarette so I could stuff it with some weed, and I was like, cool, whatever. Came back, and they were all like doing shot contests, right? And I was like, oh, fucking, you know, and I had this like big ego. It's like, oh yeah, I can handle anything. It's like, you just give it to me and I'll fucking do it. And so took the bottle. There was half of the half gallon left, and I saw it was exactly half. And I just took it and started chugging. Took 40 shots, and it was completed the whole bottle. And I remember stuffing this cigarette with some weed, and then the next moment I was in the hospital. You know, it was like 12 hours later or whatever, but like it was February 22nd of 2016. I remember that much. And you know, I died. I died from hypothermia, not alcohol poisoning. I had fallen asleep in the cold for like 3 hours. And all my friends were like taking pictures of me and stuff, and like, damn, this fool's drunk. But it was like, nah, this fool's dying, you know? And so my body temperature dropped down to 93 degrees, and they had to put like a bunch of heat blankets over me and resuscitate me and all this stuff. And I woke up in the hospital with like the breathing tube and the catheter and restraints and all this stuff. And I looked over, and my dad was there, and I was like, fuck. And like I fell asleep, and I had the worst hangover in my life. And I was like, I'm never gonna fucking do this again. I'm never gonna do this again. Never gonna do this again. And I was just sitting there in the hospital, kind of like contemplating my decision, and I was like, damn, like that's brutal, you know? But like the insanity of it is that I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do some more stuff like that, you know? Because it gave me this sense of like being bigger than fucking death, basically. It's like that shit should have killed me. And I was just like, I can handle anything. And so it's like I got out of the hospital that day, and at this point I was doing drugs and drinking with my dad, and I was like, I need a beer and I need some weed. And he was like, word, I'll get you. You know, and you know, so God bless his heart. You know,
yeah, your dad's part of your story where you used with him.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we used to do like mushrooms and stuff together. I actually got a gnarly story about that one. I mean, I don't know how many like horror stories we're gonna get into on this.
Wherever this journey takes us.
Wherever it takes us, yeah. I remember I was like late 2016, I think, like December or January 2017, and I had bought my dad an ounce of mushrooms, and we'd taken it to the house, and I bought him a strip of acid or something, and I dropped these mushrooms. I did like an eighth of mushrooms, and I didn't realize my like me buying drugs for my dad had got him interested in old stuff. Like I said, he's an alcoholic and a drug addict. He used to smoke a lot of meth when he was a kid. You know, he got in trouble in California, and something clicked where it was like we were renovating our house and he was under a bunch of stress, and he was like, all right, so I guess I'm just gonna smoke some meth to make this process go quicker and I can stay up to do this project. And I didn't realize that he was smoking meth at the time, but like I gave him this acid and he took it. He'd been up for like 2 or 3 days, you know, off of this meth.
But he didn't know. You didn't know he had been off the
No.
meth for 3. Yeah,
No.
Here's some acid. And
Yeah. And so it's like he's already in delirium basically. And I'm tripping. I'm just like vibing out. You know, my sister and her boyfriend are there, and I start hearing this crashing noise coming from his room. And I was like, what the fuck is that? And I was like, you know, deep in this trip. And so I went to check in on him. He was alone, which I fucking knew. It's like you never leave somebody alone on psychedelics. But I went to his room, and like he opened the door, or I knocked and he opened the door, and it was just like black beady eyes. And I was like, what the fuck is going on with you? And like I laughed a little bit, I chuckled, and he like threw me out of the room. I was like, what the fuck, dude? And like he fucking dove at me to tackle me, and I was like, holy fuck, bro, like slow your roll. And I like put him in a headlock. I was like, fucking stop. And I let him out of the headlock, and he fucking grabbed the knife, and he was like, am I gonna kill my son right now? Am I gonna fucking, you know, he's
that's
deep
what he's saying.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
shit.
Yeah, he was like deep in this acid meth fucking psychosis thing, and I was like, no, you don't want to do that, dude. That is not what you want. And I'm like, mind you, I'm tripping on mushrooms, and I'm like all emotional, and I'm just like, what the fuck is supposed to be happening right now? And like he dropped the knife and got to his knees, and his best friend, his like adopted brother, well, let's see, my sister's boyfriend like hid all the knives around the house, and called my dad's like adopted brother, and like this dude's been on 1,000 acid trips, and it's like he's experienced in the ways, and he came over and talked him down, and I'm just like crying, and I like ran to my room trying to fall asleep, couldn't fall asleep because of these mushrooms, and I was like, fuck God, how could God let this happen? You know, it was like I thought my dad hated me or something, you know, and I was, you know, he was in his own delusion, you know, I had nothing to do with like anything I did or anything, but he thought he was just like the only way to save me or something was to fucking kill me or to save himself. And it was like, whoa. Like, and but you know, that stuff like that didn't deter me from getting loaded, you know?
Yeah.
And that's more proof now that I am a fucking drug addict and alcoholic, you know?
Yeah.
Because that really didn't stop me. I dropped acid the next day, you know, trying to like chase that feeling away.
Wow. How's your relationship with your dad today?
We're cool. We're homies, man.
Mm-hmm.
That was the last time he ever smoked meth, to my knowledge. That's what he's told me anyway. He's a hardcore alcoholic still, but you know, he's a religious man, and he's got his own path to follow, and I love him to death, you know. And we have a lot of laughs. I look like him. I sound like him, you know. I mean, he was the one that raised me, you know. It's like my mom was out there, and so it's like I got nothing but love for my dad, you know.
Yeah.
He did the best he could, and you know, he knew when I was a kid, is like I'm not in control of this kid.
Yeah.
Like he's got his own deal. He's gonna have to fucking, God is his only protector, bro. And it's like I just gotta stand by and let the shit happen. And I'm really grateful for that experience, because I got to go out and see the world for what it was, you know. I have my own little experience with it, and you know, I didn't have nobody chasing me down. I never got forced to go to any rehabs or nothing, and you know, it's like I just did what I was gonna do, and until it was time for me to stop. So,
Did you ever run? You said you had no run-ins with the law. What was the closest you came? By the way, you got a little bug over here.
Do I?
Yeah, on the other side. I'm gonna help you him out with that.
did I get it? Is it still
No,
going?
it's in the middle.
Oh,
There you
shit.
go. You got it.
Got it.
think. Did he get it? Yeah, we got it.
All right, cool. Thank you.
No problem, yo.
We can edit that out.
Hey, yeah. Hey, man, we're going to mark that with notes early, Mondo. Yeah, but one of the things, what were your run-ins with the law?
Honestly,
did you ever have any run-ins, what?
Not like direct. I've never even been detained. Like
really?
Yeah.
You
No, I mean, I used to
dude.
I'm running around with people who are like toting weapons
right.
and like getting into all sorts of fights and like doing big dope stuff. And it was just like, I don't think a cop was ever present for any. Well, no, when I was a kid, like when I would go to like these like beach parties and stuff like that, we would bring boxing gloves, and that's what would get the cops called on us. But like I said, like it was really chill. Like. For me, like the cops would just show up and everybody knew to dip out and they wasn't arresting nobody. And so I was just like, oh, I'll just go where everybody else is going. And like, that is the closest I've come to an encounter with cops. When I was 11, I don't know. When I was 11, I became scared of cops. I wasn't doing drugs or nothing, but I was over in Auburn and I had this like BB gun, this pellet gun thing, and I was toting it around and, I don't know. It looked like a real gun, and somebody called the cops, and like cops came along and pointed their fucking 9mm at me, like, get on the ground. And I'm like, fuck, dude, like, what did I do? And it's like I didn't even process the fact. So from that point on, I was just scared of cops, and I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna get myself into any like deep shit with police. I was deterred. So I'm grateful for that experience. But
Did you So what's your drug of no choice? Like what got you to where you are today?
Cocaine.
Oh shit! There we go. Cocaine. Talk a little bit about your experience with that.
No choice.
I caught When I was in rehab, they used to be like, so what's your DOC? And I was like, motherfucker, listen. I ain't got no DOC. I don't know what the fuck. This is not. I am not being detained by anyone here. I came on my own, my own choices. Yeah. And then they were like, no, drug of choice. And I was like, man, listen here. If I had a choice, motherfucker, I would have said none. Like, I would have said no choice. I don't choose any of them, motherfucker. Yeah. So anyway, but
cocaine. Well, and really like that was the one I liked the most, right? Yeah. But it's like whatever you had, it's like
welcome to the club,
shit, dude.
You feel that? You feel that vibration over there, Rudy?
Man, I was all about the cocaine too. Yeah, cocaine and alcohol.
Yeah,
man, that was it. That was my marriage.
Yeah. Hey, but you guys seem like energetic cats. So then, when you guys got on coke and drank at the same time, wouldn't there be a heightened alertness to the group of people that you're around that, hey, man, these guys got some extra juice in their system?
No, not extra juice. For me, cocaine, it brought me down.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was actually the same way.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I would be like, hey, let's read a book, or let's make some love. But, I was just like, it really it got me focused on the present moment, right? Where I was just like, I wasn't worried about what I looked like or who was feeling me, who wasn't feeling me. I was just like, yeah, I'm fucking feeling myself a little bit, and I'm here. And that's how it was for most of the time that I did cocaine. Towards the end, it got a little violent. I almost threw this dude off a 4-story balcony for fucking running around the party, getting in people's faces and shit. I was like, stop. And he wouldn't stop. And I was like, all right, motherfucker, let's go. And I feel guilty about that situation still. It's not who I am. I'm a pretty nonviolent person, but there's been a couple weird encounters with this stuff,
Yeah, the thing about cocaine with me too is it was almost like the opposite of psychedelics.
Yeah.
Especially when you're coming down, it was with the psychedelics, I get this feeling of everything is fine, the universe loves you, everything is gonna work out great. Mm-hmm. But with cocaine, it was just everything's fucked.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
wow.
It was just chaos. It was kind of chaos in my
you mean the come down? Yeah.
Well, when you have nothing left, that was
that's the real bummer, bro.
Yeah, the emptiness of where'd that go?
Yeah. I thought I was supposed to do a couple of lines. It might be fine, but no, it's always the whole bag.
So the whole bag. Did you go to rehab?
Never went to rehab.
Never went to rehab.
Nope.
Explain that. So what happened?
So it was actually a mushroom trip that kind of got me on the path of something is really fucking wrong here. I wasn't dating this girl. We went on a couple of dates, and but she's got her own thing, and she wasn't really feeling it at a certain point. I think I was a pretty clingy dude, and I was doing a bunch of drugs, and I took these mushrooms at work, not at work. That would be fucking dangerous. Chainsaws and mushrooms don't combine, I don't think. But
oh shit, here we go.
no, it was after work. It was after work. There's nothing big there. It's just after work, and I hit these mushrooms, and I'm there for an hour, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go see this girl. And I get on the bus, and like for some reason, I was just felt like I needed to be scrolling on my phone, and it was like the day after Trump had bombed Iran or something like that, and or like sent missiles or something. I don't know what the deal was, but like there was all these memes and like news articles of like World War III happening, about to happen right now, and I'm like balls deep in this mushroom trip. I'm like, oh fuck, like I'm about to get drafted, and like, you know, I'm thinking about it and just like all emotional and cognizant of my mortality, and I'm like, fuck, dude, like I've spent my whole life fucking doing nothing. You know, when I was a kid, I was stuck to video games. You know, I just wanted to not be like in the world around me. I wasn't sociable. I wasn't doing none of this shit. I was fucking, and then, you know, I just wasted a bunch of time, like my whole adolescence doing drugs, right? And just going to parties, not learning nothing, and fucking like not doing anything productive with myself. And I was like, fuck, I wasted it, you know? And at that point, my my mom had been about 4 years clean. I got off of this mushroom trip, and I was just sitting at home, just contemplating this shit for like 3 days, you know, smoking this weed. And I was like, all right, I gotta fucking do something. This is a problem, you know? I tried a few times to stop before, and it was just like, it's that thing where, you know, in our literature, it says like, we cannot remember the suffering and humiliation of even a week or a month ago. And it's like I would make these promises, and then like literally like 2 hours later, like not even think about them or like justify them in some way to be like, oh yeah, it's like fine to drink, you know, whatever. And so it's like I made a few of those promises, and at this point I was just like, it's too much. And so I called my mom. She'd been 4 years sober, and I was like, I need help, you know. And she was like, okay, be at this address tonight. Actually, no, I didn't have a car, so I was like, I'm gonna come pick you up. And she picked me up, and I went to my first meeting, and that was it. Like, ooh. I don't know. I stayed there, and I was like, man, all these people are like missing teeth, and you know, they look crunchy. You know, they weren't, you know, dressed to the way that I like people to be dressed and shit, and like, and they're all like laughing and jigging and having a good time, and I was like, what the fuck, dude? Yeah. You know, it's like, these people don't have the answers. Right. You know, like,
there's no way.
There's no way. I thought they were liars. You know, I was like, you motherfuckers are tripping. Yeah. But like, I couldn't deny that they were happy, right? And they had something going on, and I was like, all right, let me see what's going on. And at this point, you know, I was fucking suicidal. I was like, man, like, I don't know if I'm gonna fucking make it to the next meeting. And so it's like they kept, I was telling people that, and they were like, all right, come to this meeting, come to this meeting, come to this meeting. And I was like, fuck, all right, you know. And I started going to meetings, and I started making connections. And, you know, I'm like, my normal disposition is like kind of nervous and like, you know, like distant, you know, standoffish. And so it's like people come up to me in meetings, I'll be like, I don't know about this, you know, but like people just kind of like force themselves on me. It's like, you're coming here.
They like hug you and shit. Yeah, I'm like, C is for consent.
Like,
okay. C is for consent. Yeah, sometimes there's no. Some big dudes come, hey brother, how's it going?
You know, and they're like squeezing me and shit. I'm like, get off, bro. Like, come on now. But you know, at a certain point, it was just like, okay, like I'm absorbed into the thing, and I had a place, right? You know, it's like, as delusional and fucked up as I was, it was like, I got a place here, you know, and I don't have to worry about like being who I am. Yeah. You know, that was like the subconscious thing. Of course, I have my habits, you know, that I've accumulated over the years of like, you're not good enough, so fucking, you know, talk this way, walk this way, act this way. But like, you know, eventually as time come to pass, it's like all of that stuff was absolved, you know, and I could just kind of be free to be me, you know. Just like right now, it's like I'm not talking to you any different than the way I would talk to anybody else than I would talk to my grandma or my dad or whoever, you know, my mom. And that's a good feeling, man, you know.
It's a very freeing feeling.
It's a freeing feeling.
Yeah, I think what you're bringing up is just like finding who we were kind of, I mean, obviously our trials and tribulations bring us to this point, but like doing the work and being, you know, getting some tools, some spiritual tools, I've been able to find who I am.
Yeah.
And like that person that does not need to pretend or fake or be a chameleon just to fit in here or there. It's this like I'm very comfortable with who I am today. Now people can take that or leave that, but regardless if they take that or leave that, the majority of time I'm okay with that.
Yeah, no doubt, man. And it's this thing where like you know, you don't know how to do it until you're in it. You know, it's like you can't fake your way to being comfortable with yourself. I mean, you can try, but it's usually like, you know, I mean, it's completely counteractive, right? You just have to like sit in the thing and like be uncomfortable with being who you are, but like be who you are, right? And that was a weird lesson that I had to learn. Because I made a lot of friends with a lot of people that I don't really click with doing that stuff, and like
a lot,
and you know, just like trying to be a certain way. It's like, that didn't work. I'll hang out with these fools over here. They seem like they got it going on. It's like those fools don't have it going on either. And it's like, well, where do I stand? And so at that point, it's just me and God, right? And it's like, okay, like I have to cultivate this relationship with God to understand who I am, and so I did a lot of prayer. And you know, I'm 3.5 years sober, and but I've only got about 6 months of like solid, you know, rock solid recovery, where it's like, okay, like I'm gonna do these things that people tell me to do, right? Like these steps, and I'm gonna get right with whatever my creator is, whatever that means. And I'm just gonna do what they tell me. I'm gonna get on my knees and I'm gonna pray, and I'm gonna pray every day, and I'm going to reach out to people when I don't want to reach out to people, and I'm going to just like talk to people the way that my voice allows me to talk to people. And the result of that was that I started cultivating a relationship with myself, where it was like, oh, like I don't have to fucking pretend that I'm something that I'm absolutely not. I'm not like a fucking gangbanger. You know, like the people that I looked up to. I'm not like some fucking. I'm no Scarface. I'm not a rock star, rap star, whatever. You know, I'm not like this big vision of myself. Right? It's just like I'm Ryleigh. You know, and it turns out that people actually love Ryleigh. You know, for who Ryleigh is, and it's like, oh. Fuck, I had access to this thing the whole time and I couldn't see it, you know? And that is the freedom that I've gotten from this thing, from being sober. You know, I never would have realized that shit if I was still doing drugs, man. It's like I'm stuck in delusion the whole time that I'm doing drugs. You know, I'm tripping, you know? I like doing shit that makes me not here, you know, that turns me into something else. And, you know, I'm grateful to not have to experience that today.
Man, that's beautiful, because I can relate a lot, because basically that's what I'm learning about myself too, that like it's okay for me to be like kind, loving, sensitive, you know, a good friend, like good son, like all these things that like it's like kind of born with that essential basic goodness that we get away from it. And like through recovery, I've found that I can get back to that. Yeah. Which was like why I was put on this planet.
Right. And it's also like the other side of that is also like learning to be okay with not always being those things, right? Where it's like, yeah, sometimes I'm not like a good son. You know, it's like there was a point where I didn't talk to my dad for like 8 months or something like that. It's like this dude raised me, and it's like I really have the audacity to not call him for 8 months. You know, I felt really shitty about that for a sec, but then it's like, all right, well, you know, it's done. Like I can pick up the phone now, you know, and just like call the dude. And that's something I've been experimenting with recently, where it's like the other day I was kind of feeling disconnected, and like I was just, I think we were talking on the phone about this. Maybe not. Maybe I was with my sponsee, but I was just feeling disconnected, and like I was getting all jaded and resentful that like nobody was calling me. Right? You know, I just like expect people to reach out to me all the time, you know, like when I need it, right? And then and then like, you know, when they reach out to me when I don't feel like I need it, I'm like, this is a burden. Like, fuck off. What are you doing? You know? But I just I felt this thing, and I was like, okay, like what have people told me to do when I'm starting to feel like this? And it's just like reach out, you know? Like, it doesn't matter if nobody's calling me right now when I feel like I need people to call me right now because they can't fucking read my mind, and there's not some sort of like, you know, like telepathic fucking line that I just have with everybody that's established, you know. It's just like I'll reach out, and so I reached out to 20 people, and about 6 of them got back to me, and the trip was that I wasn't tripping on the 14 people that didn't hit me back. I was focused on the 6, right? You know, and I was talking with my sponsor about that yesterday, and he was like, that's the nature of cherry trees. What we're here for is to propagate and to cultivate relationships, right? And so, you know, where you just like, you spread your roots and you plant your seeds, right? And of the 20 seeds that you planted, 6 of them grew, right, into whatever little stocks they're going to be. And it's like, and I was reaching out to people that I don't really know or talk with. And so I could have just cultivated 6 new relationships just based on this feeling of like, I need to get out of myself, right? I need to like stop thinking that the world is going to suit my needs when I need it to, and just start being of service, right? Because it makes people feel good when you call them. Right, it makes them feel important, and it makes them like, you know, want to reach out, you know. And so it felt good to be in that situation. And like now I'm in a place where it's like, why was I tripping about this shit? It's like I had the answer the whole time, you know. And I don't know. I'm very happy to be here to, you know, experience that. You know, that's a good lesson for me to learn.
Yeah, I think one of the things that you're talking about, like, so one of my counselors at Lakeside, he was like, you know what surrender sounds like? And everybody around the circle was like, not what is it? He said like this. Yeah. And it sounds like what you're kind of talking about is like when that 6 months started to take place in this last 6 months.
Yeah,
there's a change that has happened. And if you were to have told me that the recipe for staying was to get and reach out to others, I would have told you were crazy. Tripping. Because again, it's not. What is it? We need to worry about me.
Me.
I got to worry about me.
Yeah.
So if this has nothing to do with me, this is a recipe for disaster, and I am not part of this. And so,
yeah, dude,
it's interesting that almost every single guest we brought on this joint comes with that, with the fact that like, yo, we need to get outside of self is the key.
Right. Well, so, you know, like one way to think about it is that our brains are problem solvers, right? You know, it's like we were designed to like fix shit and make shit like go our way, and you know, because based on this idea of scarcity, right, where it's like, okay, so resources are scarce, you know, like I need money to get food and to get shelter and like, you know, build a house, whatever. And so it's like, okay, I need to build tools, right? So it's like you go to school, you get tools to build your finances, you get tools to build relationships, you get all of these things. And so now you have these tools and you're focused on like, you know, just fixing whatever needs to be fixed. It's like, okay, I got the car. I got the roof over my head. I got the smoking hot girlfriend. And so it's like all of my problems are solved. And now it's like, well, what the fuck else am I supposed to do? Because, you know, based on the fact that we are problem solvers, if there is not a problem, we are going to fucking make one, you know, every single time. You know, it happens all the fucking time. And so, you know, we start like, you know, we start like having internet affairs with our fucking, you know, against our wives, or we, you know, we start fucking rumors about our friends, you know, start lying, we start fucking deceiving, stealing. And we're just like focused on like how we can fucking make ourselves feel better, you know, especially as alcoholics, where it's like, I need to fucking change the way that I'm feeling right now.
Yeah.
Like not right now, but right fucking now. And so, you know, we just create these problems. And so, you know, when we're like focused on ourselves, we're creating these problems. But then when we're focused on somebody else, it's like, oh, there's something that I can help fix, you know? And it's only when you get that knowledge of like this will get me out of me. And when I'm in me, like shit starts getting weird, you know, like it goes off the charts. Shit starts getting haywire. And so like, when I'm not focused on me, I can focus on somebody else. And then all of a sudden I don't really have problems, or my problems are, you know, minuscule compared to this person's problems or whatever, you know? And it's like, I get the opportunity to fix it. And then, and trying to help somebody else, you know, it says in our literature, our very lives as ex-problem drinkers depend on our constant thought of others and how we may help meet their needs, right? So when I've tried to help, when I put in the effort to help somebody meet their needs, what I've done is establish a connection, right? It's like I've given this person the sense that I'm willing to help them see through. And that builds really strong bonds, dude. You know, survivors of a wrecked ship, right? That's what we're in. That's what we are together.
You're talking about those roots of the trees. You know, I love that cherry tree example because, and it just so happens we got the cherries on the logo. There's cherries on that painting behind you. He's got the cherries on his shirt.
This was not even programmed today. I didn't even know he was going to talk about a cherry tree today. But that is great that you brought this up. This is going to be very good for a storyline here.
Yeah. It's amazing because those roots are strong. I mean, if you see the cherry tree, they got those big branches and they're strong and they're low to the ground and they're just. Man.
Right, and it's like underneath, like they got this network, you know, of mycelium connecting them and sending signals to like let them know, like, oh, like this guy's dying, let's send some water or root supports over here, right? You know, it's the same deal. It's like when one of us is dying, it's like we got a bunch of people around us to be like, yo, like let's engulf this fool and just try to help him out, you know. Let's try to give them what they need. You know, you need a little cash or whatever. You need some food. You need a ride to like an event or a meeting. Like, let's get this fool hooked up. You know.
What are some of the struggles that you deal with right now?
Struggles that I deal with today. Well, kind of looking for a new job or a new company, I should say. I'm an arborist, and so I like, you know, I prune and cut down trees, and I climb and I operate buckets and stuff, and I really like the job, but the company that I'm working for, I'm not really that big a fan of. You know, they're big, and you know, it's just like, I don't know, I'm gonna say myself that'll get me in trouble, but fucking, you know, I don't really like my boss. You know, he's a little bit of a dick, and you know, that's definitely like a first world problem, you know, but like I don't like the way he handles his company, and I don't like how little of progress I've made you know, in the past couple of years that I've been working here. And so looking for, you know, a new job. Financially, I'm kind of tripping about, I got a trip to Sundance over in South Dakota coming up here in second week of July. And so I'm like thinking like, man, like, do I have enough? You know, did I stack up some overtime and like, you know, enough to like get there and back, you know, because it's like with this Sundance deal, like I made a commitment where I knew the consequences of not making it to this thing. And it's like, apparently like really bad shit happens to people who don't fulfill their obligation here. So I'm like, okay, like I'm going there.
What do you mean by that?
So, well, there are some like horror stories in it where it's like every time somebody doesn't fulfill their commitment to this thing, like they will get in like a fucking motorcycle crash, or they will lose their kids, or they'll act in some funky fucking, there's like some weird cosmic consequence shit to it. And it's like, okay, like that's brutal. You know, like in my mind when I agreed to the obligation, I was like, okay, that's some like brutal shit, but like Sundance is about praying for people, and it's about you know, dancing for people that can't dance and taking some of the weight off of people, you know, hopefully trying to make people I mean, really just praying for their health, you know, trying to make it so there's another contribution that might, you know, make somebody a healthier person. And so, yeah, like what I've heard is that, like, if you don't fulfill your obligations, like, something bad is going to happen to you or your family. And so there's a little bit of worry in that, you know, but I agreed to it, and, you know, I'm going to make sure my obligation is fulfilled. Let's see. I don't know. I mean, I guess it's a perspective thing. For me, I don't really think I have all that many problems. I'm a little bit of a slob. I'm a slob, right? You know, my house is always kind of a little messy, and so.
Do you live alone?
I live alone. Yeah. I got my first apartment for myself back in 2021, and I was like, man, I ain't got no roommates. I can walk around the house naked. Like, I can do whatever I want here, and you know, that has its ups and downs. It's like, the up is that I don't got no roommates bothering me or staying up till hella late in the morning so I can't get to work in the morning. You know, I had to deal with that when I was living with roommates. But the downside is that I have no accountability where I live, right? And so it's like I can just kind of do whatever I want. I can be a slob. I can fuck shit up. And then it gets to a point where that's like so like obnoxious that I just like start clean everything up, and then I start feeling better, and I forget, and then the house is a mess again, and it's just like all this stuff. It's just like regular people shit, really.
Yeah.
I got like regular people first world problems, you know. And I don't know. I mean, yeah, that's all I can really think of, you know, in the moment. Maybe something will crop up, you know, as we're talking.
Yeah.
But,
are you a religious man? Because you talked about your father being religious. I see you're wearing a cross.
yeah. So, well, I got this cross. Where did I get this? I liked it. I just liked it. I got it at the Fremont Sunday Market. I go to like Compline on Sundays. I don't know if either of you been to Compline. It's the last evening service for the Episcopal Church. It's at St. Mark's Lutheran, and
over there on 10th Avenue.
Over on 10th. Yeah, it's at 9:30 on Sunday nights, and I go there, and like there's just monks like chanting and singing and meditating.
They've been on NPR, right? Or they like sing. It's a
I don't know
live.
if they've been on NPR, but it's like King.
Sorry, they're on radio.
Yeah,
like sing,
they're on the radio. They got like a podcast there. I don't know if they're on Spotify, but like you can go back and like listen to the prayers, and it's really like that's a spot where I just like get into it and start like, you know, cultivating a relationship with God, right? Like when I'm going through some like real, you know, tough, like just like thinking about myself, like getting into myself real hard and creating problems, right? It's like I go there and I just pray for everybody else, and I pray for strength, and I pray for direction, I pray for guidance, you know, and I pray for the willingness to carry out God's will, you know, whatever that may be. That will usually being like going out and helping somebody, you know? And so, you know, I just go there, and afterwards, I'm not sure why, but I fucking have this inspiration to do better. And so I do, you know, I just like, the next day I'll go out and just like commit a random act of kindness, or I'll go to a meeting and help set up, or, you know, I'll call a friend, whatever it is, you know? And it's just like incrementally building a habit of being the man that I respect, you know. So
yeah, wow. Because you know, my program is spiritual, not religious.
Yeah.
Like I look for those places where I can get that inspiration, and like for me, sometimes it comes like out in nature. I'll go on like runs around my neighborhood, and there's some beautiful flowers and different gardens and stuff that I'm running past, and I get that, and then when that's done, then I just feel so inspired to just like. I feel centered. I feel balanced. Yeah. And it's like we all have those like sanctuaries that we go to. You know, they're all different though.
Yeah. So in terms of religion, I don't think I concede to any particular religion. As for like Christ or whatever, I believe that he had some access to some stuff that a lot of other people couldn't see. I don't think Christ was like God or anything, but I'm not gonna get into all that. Like, it's just I believe there was some power there.
Yeah,
and that's about the extent of it.
So when you bring up St. Mark's, I was baptized there after my mom found a bag of weed in my room. She thought that it was a direct correlation with lack of religion and God in my life, and so I agreed to participate in going to church. I remember waking up many a Sunday mornings and going to church and tasting that wine and feeling better.
Yeah.
And I just remember St. Mark's being a place that, like, for me, there was something special about that church that was like a dwelling experience. Something in there was more. So I saw Desmond Tutu there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Desmond Tutu came, and there was something that I'll never forget. I was way up in the Raptors that day. But I remember looking down, and he was walking through the church, and he's walking through, and there was just this aura and this energy about him, this power that was something that I'd never seen or like felt through another person. And I just remember St. Mark's has brought a lot of spiritual experiences for me, and it's an interesting place for spiritual experiences in my life. And so a lot of people keep like they got a meeting over there sometime Tuesday nights. Mm-hmm. They got a meeting, Tuesday nights, and Nux, and so I've yet to go there to the new spot, but so. What's your daily routine? Do you have a daily spiritual routine?
Yeah. So when I get up in the morning, I got this. I set little alarms on my phone to remind me to pray or meditate or whatever the case may be. But when I get up in the morning, whatever time that may be, I usually get up at around 6:30 on work days. Before I look on my phone, except to turn the alarm off, before I get out of bed to go do my little bathroom stuff, I just say a little prayer. I say my little third step prayer, relieve me of the bondage of self, and, let me be useful to another human being, that other people could witness it and do the same. And I do that prayer. Then I'm at work. I got my little coffee. Usually don't eat breakfast. I got my little coffee, and I'm like amped up and jittery and ready to go cut some trees down. And I do my little prayer at 10 o'clock, do my little prayer at 12 o'clock. I get off work. I'll usually go to a meeting afterwards, or sometimes I'll just go home and, because my job is pretty strenuous on my body, I'll just, take it easy, relax. But I got like a pretty solid meeting schedule. I go to the same ones just about every week, Tuesdays are filled, Wednesdays are filled, Thursdays are filled, and Saturdays are filled. And, I just make time to go and see my people and try to, hear something that might be valuable to somebody else that I can pass on, say something that might be valuable to somebody else. And I usually go to bed, before I get into bed, I just, I say thank you to God, for my day. Thanks for another day sober. Sometimes I skip that part, but I'm usually doing it.
That's dope how you set your timer on your phone, because I know other religions and cultures and stuff. Like I have this coworker, he's Indian. He gave me this little thing. It's like you put it on your finger, and it's like it reminds you, because he said they had to say like 1,000 prayers a day.
Whoa.
For his culture. Yeah, it might even be more than 1,000. It was like 5,000 or something. It was crazy amount of prayers. Whoa. But then you got like Muslims who like pray 5 times a day, like religiously. Because like I've been noticing, I need to start doing something like that, because my mind has been like, I'll just reach for like social media, or I'll reach for like my phone and just look at the news or look whatever it is. And it's like my mind is not on God, and my mind is not on peace and serenity.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, absolutely. That thing is.
Do you exercise?
So with my job, it's like I'm forced to. It's like I'm lifting logs.
You're paid to lift logs.
Pretty much, David Goggins.
That's what I'm saying. Who's going to carry the boat?
And the logs.
Come on. I brought it full circle. You guys see that? Man, I'm staying zoned in today.
No doubt.
Hey, yeah, that's what's up.
But yeah, so I try to go to the gym sometimes. You know, it's like I haven't built a habit of it. You know, it's like actually. So this last 6 months, what got me started on this like really thorough path to like discovering God, building a relationship with God and the people around me was a breakup. And it was like fucking horrible. It's like I had built my world around this girl, and it's like we had been dating for like 5 months or something, and we were like, we're gonna have the kids, we're fucking moving to the farm, we're doing all this stuff, you know, and it was real intense, real short, and I hadn't experienced anything like it, and I was just like, what the fuck happened? What happened? And it's like, why did I let this happen? How could I let this happen? What were all of the things that led up to this happening? And you know, I went on like I knew a couple of friends who were like in Codependence Anonymous, and I was like, yeah, I don't know about this. Like, you know, I'll try it out. And you know, I was doing my AA stuff, and I was half-assing my AA stuff and or program stuff, and they said in that it was like, yeah, if you don't have your like alcoholism in check, it's like you probably shouldn't start this because you might drink. You know, and so I was like, oh, okay, like I deterred, and so I was like, okay, well, I'll get back into these recovery halls and you know, try to do this deal for real. And I got a new sponsor, and it was weird. It was like I met my sponsor the day after the breakup. He works with my mom, and they were like in a transitional period where they were like moving to a new building or something like that, and like they just happened to be walking by the job that I was on for that day. It's like we go to a new job like almost every day, or a new site to cut people's trees, and they just happened to be going by the job that I was going by. And I was raw and I was fresh, and I was like, I need God. And this dude was like, okay, well, I've got a relationship with God that's kind of tight, you know, and like he's got all this stuff. He's got like, you know, kind of like the white picket fence, you know, wife, kids, yeah, relationship with God, cool job. He's like a farmer, and you know, it's like I've wanted to be a farmer with fucking wife and kids, and you know, like for a long time, like 5-6 years. And so I was like, that's my guy. He's got all the stuff that I want. And so we started doing the thing, and he gave me real clear-cut instructions: read our literature, do the things it says to do. And it was like, oh, okay, yeah, this is exactly what I needed to have happen. You know, because if I had been in this relationship, you know, even today, it's like I wouldn't have had the discovery of like what my higher power wants from me, or I probably wouldn't be here talking to you guys today. You know, and trying to like spread these seeds. And it's like, oh, like all of that has a good purpose, right? It's like I'm actually taken care of here, you know, and that's the relationship that I have with my higher power. It's like I'm not here like, you know, unaware that everything happens for a reason. You know, I'm here like, okay, like I don't know what's going to happen, but I trust God. You know,
yeah. God's everything or God's nothing.
God is everything or God is nothing.
Every day.
Every day. And, you know, like the way that I'm seeing things right now, God is everything. It didn't used to be like that.
It didn't? Yeah.
No, God was like,
I know the feeling.
Like, who are you, bro?
Yeah. What is
Get
this?
out of here.
Like, I'm with you, but I'm like, nah, like, come on, this guy here. This
Bro, seriously. Or even you being here today, just spreading your roots and like you're talking about, bro, like cultivating community and just like that's what we're trying to do here. And, you know, we want to have you back sometime and just, you know, we're creating family and community here. So, yeah, we really appreciate you coming through.
Yeah,
absolutely,
man.
It's
Ryleigh,
my pleasure to be here.
It's been exciting to have you here, and thank you for coming and sharing your story, brother. We really appreciate it. Sober Champs, Mondo, thanks for another opportunity here at Color Studios, and man, we love you, man. Thank you, Ryleigh.
Love you guys. Appreciate you having me on.
Thank you.
Yeah.